Hello and
Hey.
welcome to a very special SES live stream. We're doing something a little different today, something we haven't done before. We're actually going to have a 3D modeling stream, and today I have with me Andy on my left and Nemiro. And Andy, can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today?
Yeah, apparently I'm the new community manager.
Yes,
it
welcome.
says on the
Congratulations.
screen, so,
Ha-
yeah.
Congratulations,
has
Andy.
anyone told Yarda yet? Or
No, I guess he's about to find out.
Okay.
Is that
yeah.
can that be considered as a promotion?
No, it's a demotion for sure.
Yeah.
Is it demotion?
Yeah, because he's under you
I mean,
now,
you are
right?
a community manager as well.
Yeah.
He's under me.
Yeah.
Fired. Andy, you fired. And that's it. That's the end of
Okay,
our stream.
I've been promoted back to 3D graphics designer.
Did you just promote yourself?
Oh,
No, Benny did.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
What a fast career
Wait, so Benny makes these calls?
path.
I guess so.
Hey, Benny, can I be CCO?
Why CCO? Why?
Chief Creative Officer.
Why are you creative? Sorry.
Anyways, so how you doing today, Nemiro? We haven't seen you on a stream in a while. It's
It's been a
couple
while.
months. Yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah, we've been at Gamescom. Then I was sick, and yeah, here I am.
Are you feeling better now?
Yeah,
Okay, that's good.
yeah.
All right. Andy, how are you?
I'm
Should be
great,
fine.
not sick,
All right.
fortunately. Yeah,
Okay, that's good.
glad to be back on the stream again.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we were saying, so this is the first time we've done something like this. We wanted to do something different. So today we will be showing you guys a little bit about how we work in the vehicle department and also promote the new Mac Pinnacle, which is coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we will be showing you a little bit about our process, how we work, how we get from 0 to 100 basically, and maybe answering some of your questions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever did something like this.
No, this is the very first time, I believe. Yeah.
Perfect.
And there's
Well-
three of us here, so it's almost kind of like a podcast format.
I mean, I'm here just to be the 5-year-old kid asking why. What are you doing? Why? And why is that?
well, that should be easy for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Great.
Benny, can you boost my volume a bit? Because people are saying I'm too quiet.
But chat, let us know if you actually gonna enjoy this stream, because we had multiple other ideas. Maybe one day we could build a small village in the map editor of our games or something like that. Basically do these, I don't know, workshops.
Developer
workshops.
Yeah, workshops
Developer
is cool.
workshop. Yeah.
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 If you guys would, if you guys gonna find it enjoyable, then let us know and we will consider that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
What?
yeah,
you
I'm,
need to turn
I'm
the,
doing
like
my.
no, you need to turn this part towards you.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see.
And by the way,
So
we have
like
a,
that.
we have a Benny cam.
All right, my bad.
Oh, we do have a Benny cam today.
Should be
Benny,
better.
for the very first
Benny.
time in the history of SES live streaming, we have a Benny cam.
Do we have Benny mic as well?
He's a bit shy.
We
though.
have.
Oh, that's the first time anyone heard Benny's voice.
Yes. I don't think so. It's first time, but
Benny.
No,
Benny,
he's talked. He's been talking on the chat with us a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
but my mic is not that good, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to not talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so what program are you using today?
So
Andy?
I personally use Autodesk Maya. It's what I've started with, and it's like ingrained in my subconscious. So for me, the shortcuts, the keybinds, everything is just offers for me a more smooth workflow.
Okay.
Some of the people in my department use Blender as a
Mhm.
main tool, but in the end, we construct all of the scenes in Maya. So we use it basically as the main interface between our work and the end result that you see in the game.
Right.
So
Is this like a normal version, standard version of Maya, or
Yeah.
do you guys use anything special?
So what I have here is a bare bones standard version of Maya because I couldn't get our own internal tool sets to work. But hopefully, if we do more of these, we'll set it up. So unfortunately for today's stream, I won't be showing some of the tricks we do in our
Okay.
department, but I still think it might offer a little bit of insight on our
You
thought
said, like,
process.
Internal Maya tools. Can you like?
Yeah, so we have a
What does
whole
it mean? Like,
programming department, and a subset of that department is focused on developing tools for artists that are integrated within Maya itself. So these include things like material editors
Mm-hmm.
or like naming editors or like for structuring hierarchies, or we even have tools for tweaking normals and all vertex colors, all sorts of things that are not native to Maya but are developed by our team specifically for our own needs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sadly, I couldn't set it up in time on our streaming machine, but as I said, maybe next time.
But-
if we do this again,
Basically, everything you guys do for our games can be done even without the tools.
absolutely. But those tools help us to push a little bit more,
Uh-huh.
especially on fidelity with lowering poly counts.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they're kind of like shortcuts and tricks that
Uh-huh.
you're not really able to do with the baseline Maya.
Okay.
So
Okay.
stuff like that is very useful for us. Anyways, what we are looking at here is a scene
Yeah.
I've set up, and I just want to make one thing clear: that the Mac Pinnacle is a project done by other people from my department, namely Mikin and Marek. I'm just here
To mess
showcasing
up
this.
with their work.
N- Basically, yeah, but I don't want to take credit. I was not involved in this project in any capacity,
Uh-huh.
so I'm not too familiar with the full scene. But
So this is actually good because it gives us a better insight into what
Yeah.
you would go through when you encounter something brand new and you're
Exactly.
starting from scratch, right?
exactly, yeah.
So what do we have right here in front of us on the screen? Like what is this just like something you've already modeled? Is this something? Is this just like some kind of reference or something?
Yeah, so I have here 2 layers.
Mm-hmm.
This is what is actually already present what will be present in the game.
Okay.
The existing models from the Mac. So as you can see
Mhm.
here, if I toggle the wireframe, we have the hood, we have part of the cabin. I didn't include
Mhm.
everything because I want to kind of keep it a little bit of a surprise for the full release.
Mm-hmm.
But I basically use this as a baseline, and then I import a reference mesh provided to us by our wonderful partners.
I see.
And basically, I match them so that we can get the perfect position of where everything should be. And we do this to get the most accuracy that we can get for our real-time application. Today, we'll be making a model of this bulldog hood ornament.
Oh, the legendary Mac pedigree.
Exactly.
Oh, we have it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a little foam one.
Do we have any like detailed
Close-up
camera?
cam.
Close-up cam. That's the most close-up you can
Just
get.
do a little bit of a rotate. Yeah, just give it. Not like rotate. Not yeah. There you go.
Stop yelling at me.
Hey.
Okay.
Ooh.
I was just thinking like maybe we could somehow put this into a giveaway. Like if anyone is excited to start modeling even in Blender or whatever Maya, if you can try to replicate it as close as possible and send us anyway pictures of your work, we could, I don't know, maybe do something. Maybe just a wild guess, wild thinking. No.
Goose FEW says gimme.
Yeah, okay, it's yours. No,
Yeah.
no.
That was easy.
Send your details to. I was just about to dox you with your actual email, but that's probably not a good idea.
No.
Yeah.
Social media, it's always the good to put your pictures.
Absolutely.
But don't butcher the pedigree way too much, guys.
But anyways, this reference data we have here,
Mhm.
so some of you may wonder why don't we just use it in the game itself? It's because, as you can see, it's very imperfect. It's very dirty. We have issues with the normals of the vertices. As you can see, the surface is very bumpy and rough, and it's not really usable. First of all, we have 438,000, my bad. It's a lot. It's a
So
lot.
438,000.
Just for this one
Yeah.
incomplete part. So,
So if you were to
it's-
import like the entire truck in this manner into the game, you'd get
first
like,
of all, it would look horrible,
Right.
Because you can see the surfaces are just very
Not
bumpy,
polished.
and
Yeah,
you'd get like
exactly.
9 frames per second.
Yeah, and the performance would be basically unplayable because this is not usable for a real-time application. So
Mhm.
the only use we have for these references is to just model on top of them, and it's probably the easiest way to work with out of all of the methods. Because sometimes we have photo scans, sometimes we have CAD, sometimes we have nothing but pictures, and we have to basically construct camera matching in the scene ourselves and just model on top of photographs or just by eyeballing stuff from a reference board.
When you said like 400,000, what was that? Polygons,
Triangles in this case.
is way too much for this part of a track.
Yes.
Do you guys
yes,
have
yes.
like some pre-set up limits and boundaries?
We try to follow not a strict guideline, but typically the exterior of the truck should be around 100,000 triangles and the interior
The
around-
whole truck around 100,000.
No, just one configuration of it, because you have
Oh.
to keep in mind we have many different cabins, we
Okay.
have many different accessories that are not always cross-compatible.
Mm-hmm.
In total, I think the truck scenes are much larger than that, but when you put it together in the actual game, it usually doesn't exceed around 100 or 120,000. It depends. Some of the older trucks are much more lower poly, but the newer stuff we've been releasing, we try to push the quality a little bit, really try to get it looking as good as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we just had a question come in from error 0xe000025s.
Yeah, why half of it looks black? That's
Yes.
basically surface normals. So I'll just show a quick example. If we start here with a cube,
Mhm.
basically every vertex has a direction pointing, like it's basically a vector telling the light how to bounce off. That's what we refer to as a normal. So in this case, it's pointing upwards. But if we were to reverse it, now it becomes black because you're looking at the underside of it. And our materials are typically one-sided, which means they only reflect light in
Yeah. Okay.
in that
makes
direction. So when you see a black face like that, it means the normals are inverted,
sense. Benny,
which for us is it produces a lot of issues. So we by default cannot use these reference materials directly in the game.
sorry, Benny, can you make the chat we are seeing here on the TV a bit smaller? Because I can barely see what Andy is actually showing.
We could probably lose it altogether.
No, I want to see
You
chat.
have it on your computer right there.
Okay.
Amateur.
Look at this guy.
You guys want a little bit of ASMR real quick?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the good stuff.
Oh yeah. Right.
This Mac branded
What's
drink.
what's their slogan? Taste the difference? Something like that, right? Yeah, I think it was something like that. Or taste the
Isn't it?
taste the moment, or
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
that's McDonald's,
Oh.
man. You're way too much of Smažaks.
Yo quiero Coca-Cola. Yo, I had Smažak yesterday for the first time in 10 days.
And it was like in heaven, right?
It was so
like,
good. It was so good.
oh.
Everyone that's not from Czech Republic, or do they have it in Slovakia? Probably, right? So anyone that's not from
I guess.
Central Europe, you're missing
You're
out big
getting there.
time.
You're getting there. Like few streams back, you would still, put us into Eastern Europe. So
I still do.
I get
That's why I did the
Central
heavy
Europe. If
quotations.
that's the best you can do, I'm getting that. Okay, Andy, you're probably way too quick for the people watching. So,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Okay.
now.
So first, whenever I get a task like this, I
Mhm.
do kind of a pre-breakdown of what I'm actually supposed to do. So in this case, I just look at the model in question,
Mm-hmm.
in this case it's purely this hood ornament here,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to think about how am I going to approach this, because there's many different styles of modeling. Some are applicable for certain parts more than others, and I like to kind of approach every task with a good plan in mind, because otherwise if I rush into it like hours or days later, I find that I kind of chose the wrong technique for the job, and that means sometimes starting over. So in this case, I'm looking at this, and right off the bat, I'm thinking of splitting it into 4 components. So we will start with the base here, with the pedestal, I guess what we would call it. That would be one component.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would do the body from a different mesh. And here I'm thinking of either doing standard box modeling or maybe showing a more subdivision workflow, depending on how complicated I want to make my life. And then I would make this collar from another separate mesh. And then I would definitely do the head with a subdivision modeling workflow and do a high poly mesh from which I can then bake normals onto a low poly mesh to get the details such as the eyes and the nose
Mm-hmm.
and the mouth onto the model without actually bloating the poly count. So
I didn't understand that at all. Did you?
no,
30% of it.
Okay, yeah.
I hope someone does, but
Can you start speaking English soon?
I will try. Okay, so
But I would go for the most easy to reproduce way how to model it. So people,
Yeah.
if they're very beginners,
exactly, yeah. But I think it's good to at least talk about the different
Yeah,
styles and
absolutely.
techniques, and because it's really a lot about planning and approaching it correctly. Because it's like picking the right tool for the job, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So in this case, let's just start with the simplest thing, which is the base.
Okay.
Because it's just
Okay,
very
go for
simple shape, and we can dive into it easy. So first thing I always do is split everything into layers so that I can hide stuff
it.
easily.
Yeah.
And yeah, here I'll just start with a basic cube, but I only need, for example, the sides of it. I don't need, too many things here. And I just take these baseline components and just model over our reference here. So for the beginning, I'll just do what is known as a blockout. That means I am only doing the basic shape of the model without worrying too much about the details. What this allows me to do is plan ahead for proportions, for scale, basically just outlining the mesh and not really worrying too much about the details. So in this case, we will do it like that. As you can see, all I'm doing is just tracing over our reference data, which is why sometimes when I model like this, I get a little bored.
I must say
because
it's oddly satisfying to watch the shape
it's very
coming to
relaxing,
life.
Yeah, yeah, it's I gotta say I really love my job. I feel very lucky to do what I get to do. But when you have a perfect scale reference, sometimes things are just a little boring.
So it's more
But-
fun when you have like some kind of reference and you have to like start from scratch with no like 3D reference, you would say?
My preference is when I have to work from images alone,
Mhm.
because that really gets me thinking.
Okay.
But sadly, human beings are imperfect and flawed. And when we're working with purely photos, we do not get the accuracy that we really need
Mm.
for our simulation.
Mm.
So in this case, having this type of data is really a blessing, because we don't really worry too much about the accuracy because it's all there for you. But in these cases, what matters a lot is the edge flows, the proper topology, the shading matters a lot. I'll get into that a little bit later, especially when we start creating a little bit more complicated shapes. You'll see how much that actually matters. But as you can see in this stage of the model,
How
all I'm
long are
doing is just
how long you are
tracing it.
doing, or how long are you working with Maya? Have you been, or how long?
I
have you
started as
been
a
working?
hobbyist, I would say in 8th grade, but it was
Really?
it was never serious. I was working in 3ds Max and Blender and SketchUp, just making basic vehicles. But then I put it off for a long time, and then right after university, my first one, I picked it back up again when I was entering at a film effect studio back home.
Because I can tell that you really, have it in your hand, or how to say, like all the shortcuts.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, for
which-
me, Maya is just much faster and it suits my personal needs better.
Mhm.
There's no ideal modeling software. Blender is great at what it does as well. Just for me and how I work, Maya is just a little bit easier and faster.
So Captain Flinch has asked, sorry if it's a stupid question, but
There's
can
no
it not
stupid
be
question.
done automatically since the reference model is already there? It feels strange having to recreate what you already see.
No, it cannot because the whatever algorithm you develop, and there's many of them. There's a lot of polyreduction algorithms out there. It just will not create a good output mesh because, I mean, you could run it through ZBrush, of course, but it's very hard to tell the algorithm or guide it in a way that you really want it to for your specific application. It will always put an edge where you don't want it. It will always have some flow that doesn't make sense. Um, it's just not worth it. Maybe you could do it, for example, if you have a photo scan of some statue and all you need is a static map object that is not going to be interacting with anything, then you can just run it through some decimator because you don't care about the topology, you don't care about much else other than some target poly count. In that case, yes. But these assets specifically are really the main like player-driven thing in our game. They're basically the characters of our game, so they really need to look good. They really need to be up to standard, and most importantly, they need to be workable because sometimes we revisit old trucks to make tuning packs or whatever, or just maybe do a facelift. If the mesh is not correctly made, it offers a lot of issues for the artists. So in that case, it's just not a good idea to do it automatically.
So
It's-
could you somehow tell like what's the difference between when a partner is willing to support us with CAD files like these, for example, versus when we go there and scan the trucks for you? Like how much of time it saves, or like by percentage, which way is like easier or faster for you guys?
The fastest is having CADs available.
Mm-hmm.
It's by far the easiest way of working because you know that the data is accurate. It's perfectly positioned. It's
Mhm.
facing the right way. There's no weird offsets or rotations or translations. Everything is just in place and works. The project that I'm currently finishing was made using photo scans, and that
Mhm.
was a nightmare to set up because I had 3 different photo scans
Oh.
that I had to align
Mm-hmm.
that were not scaled relative to each other, that were rotated and offset, and this is very, very, very difficult to work with.
So yeah, before we kind of finished up the LT, I saw you working on that vehicle, and I was really kind of thrown off by how much work was there. Like it wasn't like taking that 3D scan and turning it into something you could work with to turn it
Yeah.
into a 3D model. Like that was probably that was weeks of work.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot. So yeah, this really has to streamline the process.
So I just have to restart this real quick. It's also typical. There's a lot of this when we're working.
What just happened there?
Sometimes you click a random button and things break.
Ah,
Yeah.
we see your references there on the desktop.
Yeah, I also like to look at pictures while I'm working, even with reference data available, because especially for the shading,
Mm-hmm.
just to see how the surface should look.
That's also like quite interesting thing to mention. Like, is there anything you guys cannot see from the CAD files? Because I believe, like for example, a texture or stitching at the seats, like those things are not in the CAD files at all, right?
No,
You
they're
still
not.
need to
they're
see
not.
them.
Yeah, exactly. So we still have to rely on our eyes, especially for the texturing process. So the CAD is only useful in the initial modeling stages. As you can see, if I just toggle off the sand, if we just look at the surface, this tells me nothing about how
Mhm.
this should be lit or how
Yeah.
the light should be reflected. So
Or if it's plastic or metal.
Exactly,
Or
yeah, you
painted
have
or
no
not,
idea.
yeah.
So that's why having a reference board is very important because then we
I
know
see.
like, okay, this is this material. It has these types of properties, or like this surface here should be more flat as opposed to curved, for example, and it just comes in handy in those instances.
How often are you saving, or is it auto saving?
I save a lot,
Okay, and you're just like,
and that will become apparent why soon. I want to spoil the surprise. But I do save a lot. Oops. Yeah, but this is usually the process. You're just moving vertices around. I like to listen to a lot of music while I'm doing this because it just gets me in the zone.
Yeah, I can
And-
sort of see where you're coming from. Like, I mean, to me, like to do what you just did would probably take me 2 hours.
Yeah,
And
like
you've done it in 10 minutes.
how quick can you guys create this statue, this pedigree?
I would say for this, I would allocate realistically 4 to 6 hours
Mm-hmm.
for the model because it's quite a complex shape, especially near the head. So there's only so much we'll be able to do today on stream in a limited time. But everything that I'll be showing is basically the same process I repeat over and over and over. So it's just building up to it, starting from a very baseline shape and then
So basically, you
Yeah.
keep going over it and adding more detail as you go, kind of thing.
pretty much. Well, it depends on the task. Sometimes I work in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing here, I'm doing like a classic box modeling approach, it's called, where I'll do the blockout shape and then just add some bevels and call it a day for this because it's not a complicated mesh.
Right.
But when I'm working on something more complicated, let's say a full body of a car or a truck, I love doing subdivision workflow because I just get more accurate curvature and then I
Mm.
work with less geometry to actually get more detailed results.
Okay.
So
How can you, or
Yeah.
who is there to tell you guys, or how do you guys decide, like, okay, this is rounded enough, okay, this is polished enough?
well, it's
Okay.
up to the artist to use their best judgment on that. And we just rely on our past experience and our kind of gut instinct, if that makes sense. But we also have a technical director that's kind of in charge of making sure that everything's
Mhm.
up to the same standard across
Mm-hmm.
different truck models.
So you would
So
finish this pedigree and then you would pass it to the technical director and was like, hey, can you check this out
Yeah,
if it's
exactly,
Gucci?
yeah.
And he would
Yeah.
like review it and
yeah, and
tell
typically
you,
he will tell you you have way too many polygons, so you have
Okay.
to reduce something.
So how do you decide how much each part, like how many polygons each part gets, right? So it's like you have so many components on the truck, so many body panels.
Yeah.
This hood ornament, for example, like how do you decide how much detail it will actually get?
I do it based on distance,
Mhm.
relative to everything that's around it. So if you compare the hood, and also it really matters on the curvature. So like I think this is a really good example. If we look at a flat surface, it doesn't have much going on because it doesn't need any extra vertices here. It's just flat, so you can get rid of it. Same with the hood. Where the hood gets flatter, you see we have very few edges going here. But when things start to get curved, you see we
Yeah.
have a little bit more just to get that nice rounded shape. And then things that are under, you see here, we put a lot less detail and we don't worry so much about the shading because you see this is what I would consider broken shading, but it doesn't matter because this part will barely ever be visible to the player.
true,
So we really prioritize based on
what the people can
distance
see.
and visibility, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see here, for example, this kind of rounded edge has more cuts than the surrounding area because this is just flat, so it doesn't need detail. So that's kind of how we prioritize.
So Pinnacle 48-inch bunk confirmed.
I will refuse to comment on anything and just try to do my job. But that's basically it. So here I've done the basic block out of the shape. As you can see, it's very low poly. It doesn't look like much. I also work with symmetry because it's just easier for me to visualize it that way. And then the next part, after I've done my block out, is doing the actual detailing and curvature of this model.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to look at our reference. We can see that this is a little bit curved here. We have a lot of bevels going on. And yeah, but I would not do this with subdivision because it's just a waste of time. So I'll just go in here in the model and I use multicut, my favorite tool, just to add an extra edge here, and then we can grab the line. Oops. And then use the reference that we have to see that this should be a little bit forward, but it should be aligned.
So I have another
like
question.
that.
How good are you at first-person shooters? Because I'm seeing you click these little boxes and clicking these
used to
edges, and
be-
you're like right on the money every time.
I used to be good, but not so much anymore. But I used to be really good at strategy games as
Okay.
well.
So if you're really good at first-person shooters and strategy games, consider a career in 3D modeling.
I would say the skill sets
I was
don't
not good,
translate
I
too
was not
well,
good
but-
at any of those two, so
Yeah, you should stick to marketing.
yeah.
Also, shout out. I don't remember who said it. I think it was
no,
Kango
no, no, no one
Fango.
said that. No one
Shout out to
said-
Kango Fango for giving props to Nemiro this stream because he hasn't crashed a single vehicle yet. So awesome
Yeah,
comment.
That was a good one. I give you that. Yeah.
So because this is quite a small object, I won't put a lot of divisions here for this curve. I think just one edge running around it is fine. And then I'll just bevel all the edges that should be beveled. In this case, we just need to basically grab the entire outline. So we need this here. This is beveled. I believe this is beveled. This for sure. It's a good time to always look at your reference. So that should be beveled as well. As you can see, it's kind of nice and rounded.
I'm having good time here.
So-
I'm really like mesmerized by it.
Yeah, so if we bevel it now,
See? That was like
go
magic trick.
that's
And now it's all rounded and nicely.
yeah, but it's
beveled.
not correct because I should do it here first. And I would put more segments into this and then do. So you see, it's all about planning and doing things in a sequential step. The modeling is very sequential. It's not something, it's a very destructive workflow. If you do something in the wrong sequence, you will find yourself in a very tough spot later on because it's harder to undo it how you want it.
Because you'll
So
basically have to end up starting from where you were.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's sometimes very unforgiving, and that's a lesson you. Oops, I think
And
something went wrong.
Would you rather work on something like where you don't have any reference materials, like something I don't know, where you can be fully creative, like like a task would sound like, hey, create me your idea of cosmic truck, and you could just build it from
Honestly,
scratch by your own ideas, or do you like more this kind of modeling where you have like very precise reference materials and
honestly, I sometimes miss working on AI
uh-huh.
because you have a lot of creative freedom there,
Uh-huh.
especially when we're working with our concept artist. We do a lot of back and forth, coming up with new design ideas, and it just allows you so much more freedom to come up with something interesting and unique that you can't really do here. Like, there's very little creative freedom in recreating this. It basically has to be close to the original as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have much room for that. You just need to recreate what's already existing. But when we
And
do AI, we sometimes we'll make a iteration of it, and it's like, oh, I think these headlights could be better like this, and then we do multiple instances, and it's just a back and forth, and it's a little bit more interesting, I would say.
And do you have an idea like how 3D model artists are working in studios where they are building, I don't know, RPG game full of dragons, swords, and very creative stuff? Like, if I guess that's why they have like concept artists, like they
Absolutely.
paint them the idea and then they are modeling according to that.
Yes, exactly. The concept artist is very valuable in those studios because, as you can see, modeling takes a lot of time, and it's very difficult to iterate in 3D. So having someone that can create a concept in 2D and go through the iteration process very fast and then just present a bunch of concepts
Mm-hmm.
to the modelers, it's really valuable. And we have such an artist in our department as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be Stenda, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fonda,
yeah.
and you already had him on stream.
Yeah,
so
he's been on
yeah.
stream. He was on stream most recently
For
for
the
the
farm
farm
machinery.
farm
Yeah.
machinery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which he basically designed all of the machines himself,
Mhm.
which goes to show how powerful a concept artist like that can be. He basically
But he also
was
worked
guiding.
many years in agriculture company, right?
He did,
Yeah,
yeah.
he did.
Yeah. And I got a chance to kind of see his process as well. When I first came to the company, I was sitting next to Stenda.
Mm-hmm.
For about 2 months, I was sitting with him, and I got to see his whole process, how he iterates on stuff, and how he takes his feedback and implements it into his next step of the design process. Really cool, and he's really talented. So shout out to Stenda.
Yeah.
Also, what we have here are some shading errors. So this typically happens when you have bent surfaces or a lot of stuff going on. It's just normal that this type of thing will happen. Typically, we fix this with our internal vertex normal tool
Mhm.
that I don't have today. So sadly, I can't show how we go through that
So
process.
that's why you added the edge into it, like.
No, like what would happen is we would select this face and then we have our own internal tool that would flatten this surface.
Oh.
So it would get rid of these shading errors at no cost to additional.
triangle.
Oh, I see.
Triangles,
We don't
exactly.
actually have an extra poly in there, but it kind of looks like we do because of the shading, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because what happens here is we have a n-gon.
Mhm.
N-gon is basically, so we have quads, triangles, right? Triangle is the bare minimum shape that you can have.
Right.
And then everything that's more than 3 vertices, it's called an n-gon. In this case, as you can see, it's kind of free, but Maya has decided that it will be triangulated basically like that. And sometimes we
Ah.
don't want that. So in this case, a bit of manual triangulation, if I reroute the triangle there, it could solve the issue. But usually, yeah, you see it's a lot better now.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But we would still use our internal tool. Yeah, you can only see it, the pinching on the edges here. But I would always fix that with the tool sets provided by our programmers.
And right now you're using some kind of mirroring as well. Like you're only working on
Yeah,
one side of the
exactly.
shape, but it's automatically creating everything on the other side as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I use a instance of the geometry here, duplicate special.
Mm-hmm.
I have it as an instance on a negative x-axis, which means it's copied from this pivot.
So I think I can actually talk about something. There was a truck that came out earlier this year that we created, and when it was in the internal testing phase, I guess they had worked in the same style, and you can't tell from the pictures, and it's not something you can tell maybe even from the data, but if you're in the truck, you notice it.
Mhm.
The mirrors are not symmetrical on certain trucks.
Yeah.
On the passenger side, the mirror actually sits farther backwards so that it's not blocked by the A-pillar. And on the driver's side, to set more forward, so you don't have to turn your neck as far to look at it, right?
And we initially just
Initially,
flip
they were
them.
identical. And I remember sitting in the cab, and
like something doesn't feel right.
yeah, I was looking at him because I had owned the type of truck, and I was
Uh-huh.
looking at him like, no, like I'm moving the mouse around looking, right? I'm like, this isn't right. And so sure enough, like I went and talked to the artist about it, and he told me it was exactly mirrored, and I got some reference photos for him as best I could, and we were able to fix it before release.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
So, that's why I'm worth to keep around, boss.
So that
But-
was
but
the,
that pay
was
raise.
the whole, that was the whole that was the whole point of this entry.
Yeah.
Of this story.
Just selling myself.
Okay.
You got it.
But Andy, how often you guys are using like mirroring stuff like that? You are like create one, I don't know, side door of a truck, and then you just flip them because they are identical on the other side. So you just
I
flip
would
them.
say any sane artist probably uses mirroring like that all the time because there's no reason, unless the mesh is different, there's no reason to model it twice because you will not get it correct. It's just normal to,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, you're a human being prone to imperfections. So
I'm
But
sure even
sometimes,
times when there's like slight differences, you'll still mirror it and then modify it as opposed to starting from
yeah,
scratch.
exactly. Yeah, I'll
Like
just take the
different
baseline
door
and-
handle maybe on one side, right? Then you
Yeah.
would still flip the whole door and just
Yeah, blind
adjust
spot
the door
window.
handle.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. This is amazing. Like every time I learn something new here or learn about something new here, I feel more dumb than ever.
Yeah, I thought I was like pretty
I
good.
don't know.
I would
Yeah.
say
I don't know
you
nothing.
don't need to be too smart to do this job. To be honest, you just have to be. You just have to enjoy it, but it's really technical and it's really tedious sometimes. Especially when you're trying to fight with shading errors, which this here is quite a simple mesh, but I think when we get to modeling the body or the head, you will see that you're just constantly problem solving, and
Mhm.
if you're not the type of person that enjoys something like that, you will have a bad time.
We could have had a model of pizza for us.
Pineapple pizza?
Yeah.
Smajak.
Smajak?
Oh. Oh. We could get the texture just right on the tartar sauce.
Smajak cabin accessory DLC.
Smajak modeling stream. Let's go.
Yo, I'm gonna talk to someone about that. We gotta make that happen.
Okay.
If I could have a plate of smudgok. Oh, we can do an event.
Deliver Smajak around.
Cruising smudgok.
Cruising. Cruising Smajak. Okay.
For those
When-
of you tuning in from
when
anywhere
we-
outside the Czech Republic or Slovakia, smudgok is a fried cheese dish, often served with boiled potatoes or fries or something like that, and
Tartar sauce.
and tartar sauce. Yeah,
You can't forget about tartar sauce.
and as someone who comes from America and Canada, where we love our fried foods and our unhealthy foods, when someone told me fried cheese is an entire meal, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
That does not make any sense. We have mozzarella sticks, but it's an appetizer, right? But literally just like these giant cheese patties of
Yeah.
Gouda cheese or
Idam.
Edam cheese, which we don't have in America, so Americans are just gonna be like, huh, what, huh? But anyways,
You don't?
no, I've never heard of it anyway. So basically, it's like a mild cheese, not cheddar or anything like that.
I think it's
And
from
they-
Switzerland originally.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know if you could do it with Swiss cheese. You could do it with mozzarella. You could definitely do smazzini syrup with
Is
mozzarella.
Swiss cheese different than Idam?
Maybe,
Not that much, right?
yeah. It's pretty much the same actually. They both got the holes. They both have a very mild but kind
Yeah.
of pungent taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's from the Netherlands.
Netherlands. So okay.
Benny talking to us without the
sorry,
Benny
Dutch
cam.
guys.
So, anyways, so they just fry this cheese and serve it as a meal, and it is the greatest thing of all time ever.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So
So when we will be doing a rework of Czech Republic, we definitely have to do cruising Smajak.
Yes, yes, that has to happen.
we can make it a cargo. That'd be funny.
Oh, big Smajak.
Gavin, if you're
I mean,
watching, make it happen.
The cargos are done in my department, so
Oh,
we could make a Smajak modeling stream and then turn into cargo.
Andy turned.
I'm making no
An-
promises here.
Andy has turned from
I-
the Andy the Grey to Andy the White. Now he has a power to bring us a big
The
event and
Smajak.
big cargo.
Yes.
So, Nemiro,
Hmm?
are you a fan of Lord of the Rings and
Kind
Game of Thrones and all that kind of
Kind
stuff?
of. I hate Game of Thrones.
You hate Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Did you hate it before the final season?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I hate it after 3-4 episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting because the author of Game of Thrones kind of J.R.R. Tolkien was
Mhm.
his hero.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just felt like his only trick is to build up a character and then kill it. And
True.
Repeat it all the way along.
I mean, true, but I got to say, after trying to read 76 chapters of Lord of the Rings, which is
Uh-huh.
not even 1/8 of the book,
Uh-huh.
I felt like the characters had such ridiculous plot armor that I just didn't care about them anymore.
I didn't read it.
Not a real fan. But Andy.
Yeah, probably. I'm not a real fan. Yeah,
How's it going over here, Andy?
It's going
but
great.
Benny never seen it.
So
Yo, what?
we finished the
Benny-
Whoa, hold on.
Benny
hold
never
on.
saw Lord of the Rings, guys. Not even Hobbit.
Benny?
Nothing.
This thing
What is
over
wrong with
this discussion.
Benny. Benny, turn on the
We need the Benny cam, and we
uh,
need an explanation about why you've never seen
and
it.
we need your confession.
Right now. I will come over there and I will press the buttons myself.
I will remain silent on it. I don't want to say anything about it.
This isn't America. You can't plead the fifth.
I'm ashamed. Yeah. That's
As
it.
you should be.
Okay.
So for the next team building, can we just like duct tape him to a chair and
I mean, we
Yeah.
have our like cinema here. Like that was
Oh.
the idea to do the marathon, like with the director's cut.
yeah, we were gonna
Just
do that.
for,
We
just
never
for
did.
Benny. Just
Yeah.
for Benny.
Okay. All
You
right.
need a duct tape,
So
a chair to tie him up to a chair, and just play the 3 movies in a row. And
I
That's
do have
it.
duct tape at my desk.
okay, I don't want to I don't want to ask why, but okay.
To
For
repair
situations
things.
like these.
Thanks for
I'm
sharing.
Canadian. You can fix everything with
What
duct
do you
tape
mean?
and
You're
WD 40.
consultant and community manager. What do you need to repair?
I'm a
with that?
jack of all trades, buddy.
Okay.
I can do it all, but I can't do it well.
Okay. I'm glad you're not sitting with us in our bay.
Why?
I don't know. I would feel like something can happen to me with the duct tape.
What?
Andy,
Yes.
you made some progress.
Yeah, some. As I
You
said,
are already on the dock, on the actual
yeah.
dock.
I've finished the base here. So as you can see, I've made it from different parts because we have, as you can see, this part going into it. There's no reason to connect them because if I were to connect them, I'd have to do cuts in this piece of the
Ah,
mesh, which would
see.
actually increase the poly count. So that's kind of a trick to reduce things. Instead of making from one. But it depends. If this part were bigger and more visible, then I would really want to have that nice beveled line running across. So I would connect
Mhm.
them. But because this is just a hood ornament, and especially that part, as you can see, even if you're in the garage walking around, you will never get a very close view of it. So for this need, it's fine. It's kind of floating in the air, but we're just going to ignore that fact. And yeah, I still have some shading problems here, but as I said, that's something I would fix with our internal tools that I don't have available now, so I will just ignore it. But maybe I can show some certain tricks we use when we get shading errors. So if we have a sphere here, and I'll apply a very reflective material to it. As you can see, the shading is all right on it. But if we duplicate it and let's say we have another sphere that's kind of making a hole, because a lot of times we have curved surfaces with cuts or indents on them, and those are the most prone to producing incorrect shading. So in this case, I'll just do a quick example. Just like that. It's a time-consuming process, but bear with me. Just want
I
to
have
demonstrate.
no idea why did we move from the legs of the pedigree to 3 spheres now, but okay.
I'm just demonstrating
Okay.
some things we're doing.
So how the reflection or how
Yeah.
the vertices will be affected based on like if you interject 2 objects into each other as opposed to building on top of it as a separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just quick and dirty, but it's just for demonstration. So as you can see, on the sphere here, we have correct shading. The light is reflecting accurately. And here we've made a cut in our surface. And you can start to see this kind of pinching triangles on the side.
Yeah.
It's because of the vertex normals and how it's interacting with the surrounding area. This is very dirty geometry that I'm not going to bother cleaning up because we don't have time today. But
You know we're going
what
to get
we do-
sued by Disney now, right?
That looks like
That, yeah.
Star Wars.
Damn.
No, it doesn't look like anything.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Yeah. Well, now we're definitely getting sued. But in these cases, what we do is we steal normals from baseline geometry. So I know where I started in my modeling chain. I can take the previous iteration of the model. In this case, it's my sphere. I will snap it to the same one. What is the translation? On it, it's all 0 dots. Okay. That's
Do what?
Never mind.
He was talking about you, Mark.
Yeah, so I'll overlap my 2 objects
Mhm.
and I'll select my source geometry first and then select my target geometry second. And I will go here into transfer attributes. I will take the vertex normals, turn everything else off. In this case, we have more sampling spaces. Topology is useful if you have two identical meshes. In this case, we don't. So we're going to sample in world space, which means we need things to be on top of each other, basically. I'm going to apply. Going to shift delete that, get rid of it. And as you can see, we have our sphere that we made a cut in. And we have, if we unlock these, we have the shading on the side gone. It's perfect now. It's basically the same as the original sphere. So these are some tricks we use to get the shading looking right with as minimal topology as possible. So transferring normals from further back in the modeling chain, something very useful. We do it all the time. It's just one way to get correct shading. That's why I went off on this tangent, just to show it here, because I think someone might find it useful.
So with something this small and something the player won't be focused on all the time, is this still like a worry for you?
Absolutely. We always worry on the shading. We want it to be as accurate and realistic as possible, because when things look right, you don't notice them. When things look wrong, they catch your eye. So even if it's this small little detail here, if it has really egregious shading on it, it will actually be an eyesore for the player, and they won't be able to basically not look. You know what I mean? So that's why
it's like when you have a scratch on your car.
Yeah.
You always see it when you're getting to it.
You know, I saw a video of a guy, totally off topic, tangent here, but he was picking up, I think it was a Bronco, like a restored classic 70s Bronco. And
oh, you told me that.
I told you about this?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't told chat yet, Nemiro. Just go along with it, okay?
Okay.
So
what he did. Tell us, Mark.
We've lost Mark, guys.
Mark.
What is it with Benny?
Benny doesn't care about your story either. All right.
Benny, turn on
Look
on
what
Benny
you did,
cam.
Nemiro. Look what you did.
Mark, you didn't finish the story, man. Can you finish the story, please? We are all so like
Everybody's waiting.
everybody's waiting for it. All two people are waiting for the story.
He doesn't want to talk to you guys.
Are those two people in the room with us right now?
No.
He's sad.
So, Andy,
Yeah.
when you are a 3D modeler or artist, is there still a time like over the weekend you just wake up and you're like, today I'm gonna model whatever, a unicorn or
I used
Death
to.
Star from Star Wars, and you just like do it for fun, or?
Used to, but not anymore. When I go home, the last thing I want to do is open Maya.
Okay.
So I just work on other
Understandable.
things.
Yeah.
Because
So can you tell us what kind of projects or things you modeled over the years just for fun?
Yeah, I was really into modeling various types of military vehicles.
Hi, Mark.
Hardest model I've ever made for fun was the Rafale. It's the fighter jet from France. And it taught me a lot about like that curved type of surfaces, because like the intakes below the cockpit, how they fuse into the wings is a topological nightmare. And it was a really big challenge to make, but it was a project that taught me a lot about subdivision modeling in specific, which I might show here. So I'm kind of running into a dilemma. As you can see, the reference data sometimes is odd and not exactly showing you what you're supposed to be doing. So in these times, yeah, having it in 3D in front of your eyes helps a lot. So
Now, I'm not sure how accurate the foam cutout
I
data
wouldn't
is
say
compared to
it's
the real one.
extremely accurate, but
Actually even has
there's
the
nothing from the back here. But
number, this like the serial number on the bottom.
Do you think they are limited edition?
No, but actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they used actual files to create this, Because it's like to create this, it's just some kind of laser cutter, right?
Yeah,
So probably
probably.
it's a similar program.
Yeah.
Snap it, it's easier. Yeah, I think I'll just simplify the mesh here and then do the details in a secondary pass. As you can see here, we have kind of a different edge that's flowing from the back into the side of this thing. But that would require me thinking about how to connect this part that I don't have yet, so I will just leave it like this and add that at a later stage. It again comes back into the whole planning process. But what you can also see is that I'm keeping my entire mesh here in quads. And the reason for that is when you have a perfectly quadded geometry, it's much easier to take this multi-cut and just create additional edges that flow around the geometry. For example, if we have something like this here, or maybe I think this is a better demonstration. If I had a triangle here, now if I try to run edge, you see it stops short, so it doesn't run across. So this can complicate your workflow. So while I'm working, I like to keep things in quads, purely for the for my own mental well-being.
Okay.
And then in the last step of the process, I do like a topology cleanup where I go and manually triangulate things to get the poly count down and basically optimize the mesh, because you don't need quads on a surface that is not going to deform. So in that case, we can have triangles running everywhere. It's not a big deal. But as you can see, it's just a time-consuming effort, and it's basically repeating the same thing over and over again until you get to the desired result. So I think I can skip ahead a little bit in the process. So once I have some basic block out of the shape here, I can explain a little bit what my next phase would be.
I mean, for me, it's even kind of miracle how you are still not. I would be so confused by the reference data you have there, like where am I supposed to drag this vertical? You know, where
Yeah.
what belongs to where.
Yeah, and it's something you learn just by doing it over and over again.
I think the wild thing for me is the shortcuts. Like he's just like
Yeah.
beating that keyboard, and he knows all these shortcuts, and he's working so quickly. Whereas like me, I feel like every single time I'd be like, okay, file, create, vertices,
I will be like
drag.
all tab
We should
YouTube.
see you at
how
the end
to
of the stream trying to model a low poly truck.
Oh my
What do you
goodness.
think, chat? Should Mark try to model at
Don't
the
do
end?
that. Don't encourage
Yes.
them.
Model as a
Let's see.
Bronco.
Let the chat speak.
Beat you.
Because you always roast our parking skills.
That is true, actually.
Let's see,
it would
let's see
be
your modeling skills.
it would be good to see the boot on the other foot.
revenge.
He's getting called out live on stream.
Finish the pedigree. You have 30 minutes for it.
I think we might also have something at the end of the stream.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we are already streaming an hour. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
Let's-
said.
Let's do a few more minutes
Yeah, we can maybe.
with Mark modeling.
Yeah, it
Huh?
takes
What?
time.
Should Mark try 3D modeling?
Oh man,
People are
Saying yes.
yes.
Of course they are.
it's gonna be just painful for everyone involved.
Try to model
Exactly.
Smajak or
Yo, yeah.
that's quite a
Let's
that's
if I
easy
can.
shape.
Yeah, can I model like a plate?
You can model anything you
oh,
like.
oh my god! I thought like the actual
funnier
Smajak.
if
You,
You can't just put the smudgek on the ground. You got to put it on a plate.
you need a house and Sable.
I don't need a house for smudgek.
Why do you need a plate, but not a table?
How am I gonna microwave it?
You need a microwave as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Oh,
you need a whole planet, the whole world.
so is this like a chicken and egg question? Like which came first, the smudgek or the plate?
Definitely the plate.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. It was the basis for the Smajak.
I have never tried modeling anything in my life. The closest thing I ever came to being creative was like trying to like work with. Remember the old Flash games that would run in your browser? I tried to make like a Flash game.
Really?
Yeah.
You went further than I.
I tried. I didn't create anything usable. It like it's tough, man. The people that do this stuff really have like my admiration for sure.
I just experience and training like with anything else.
I guess so.
You do it long enough, and then things start to become apparent. Sometimes I'll
10,000 times they say.
Sometimes I'll look at a object.
Yeah, they say no matter what, if you
Mhm.
will repeat that 10,000 times, then you're a master of it.
Really
Hmm.
interesting.
What happens if you repeat it 10,000 times and you still suck at it?
Then
You
it's
go
not
get a
prob-
job at JB Hunt.
Then you can ask for a job in our team.
I might just do that. But we got the leg here. As you can see, it's very rough. This is what I would call a blockout. And for the sake of not spending 6 hours here, I can just show like how I would approach the next step. Once I have it, I kind of just turn off the reference and just look at the mesh itself and just try to optimize a little bit these faces and how they are positioned, because here what we have is a perfect example of a non-planar face. So typically every quad is comprised of two triangles, even if you look at it as a quad here in the viewport, and that's very apparent when you turn around and you see that it's bent. In this case, Maya will decide how the triangulation should go for us, but we don't want that in this case, so I'm just going to flatten it like a component.
Makes sense.
And you have to
And
do
just
this
do
with
it.
all of them.
And it won't be perfect, but you do it enough times that it averages out, and then
You have to do this
Uh,
manually.
you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
It's better if it's flattened.
Right.
So
Yeah. So
basically, I guess that, for example, if you would be a
also
modeling
reroutes.
like NPC characters for game, then it would really help if you are master of a anatomy, right?
Oh yeah,
of a
And
body
actually,
and-
character artists learn anatomy. It's something that actually happens.
Okay.
So, I mean, seeing everything it took here just to make the pedestal and the legs
Yeah.
of a, pretty minor part of the vehicle. Like, it's easy to see now why the
It takes
vehicles,
time.
it can take so much time,
Why
right?
it takes time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would everyone in the team at SCS would love to see like a new vehicle pumped out every 2 weeks, but
I mean,
The-
we could, but then the quality will be substantially lower.
it would look like something I made.
pretty much. Pretty
Yeah.
much. But here I'll just show a quick example of a subdivision workflow. What I like to do when I'm faced with curved surfaces
Mhm.
is I do a very basic rough outline, as you saw, and then I go in and I add what are known as support loops. So these are here to preserve the shape during smoothing. So if we add another one here, as you can see, what happens when I do a preview of what will happen when the surface is
Yeah, but you are
smoothed.
also adding like triangles, right? With every
Yeah. So, but these are temporary edge loops. So what would happen in the sequence is I would take my initial mesh, and then run a few smoothing passes on it. In this case, just one, because it's a small object, and then go in here and start cleaning these things up. Stuff that's not necessary. Maybe if there's too many bevels, I'll start merging these down to one, for example. For this thing, for sure I would, because it's quite small, and I think the total triangle budget for this hood ornament would be maybe 400, 500 triangles, which is not a lot. Maybe 1,000.
How much does it have now?
Well, this part here has 206. So I would optimize this even more for the end result. Yeah, so I think actually 1,000 would be more realistic for this because it's quite complex.
Now, there's
And
some
it's
kind
kinda
of
visible.
tricks you guys can do as well that like without actually modeling with the texturing or the baking.
Yeah. What we would do is, if I had more time to show, but it's unfortunately not going to happen today. This detail on the face, like the eyes, the nose, the mouth, even on the paws here, these cuts. What I would do is through a subdivision workflow, create a high poly mesh first. That would include the eyes, all of the details that I wouldn't want on the low poly mesh. I would then take that high poly mesh and make a low poly variant of it where I get rid of as much detail on it as possible while still preserving the shading on it. And then I would bake the normals from the high poly to the low poly on a normal texture map. And then you will see all this detail. It will not be in triangles, but it will be on texture instead.
Mm-hmm.
And we typically combine our texture maps, so the same normal texture for this hood ornament would be mapped on other parts, like we usually have bolts on the sides or whatever. So that's how we save on memory and space. But basically, it's just the same process here. I would just keep tracing it and then try to do like this kind of smoothing on it. And it's the same thing over and over. There's not much else to it, really. So we could keep going for a little bit. I don't know.
Let me give me a blank scene there. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay.
A very, very pathetic attempt at trying to create something.
Okay. Do you want me to explain you the shortcuts
you gonna-
first? Or
Do you want to try and make a dragon?
Dragon.
Yeah.
let's see. Let's
Does
see.
it sound
Mark's
Easy to create.
exceptional skills.
I don't
Do
know.
a plate. Do a plate of smajak.
Yeah.
Plate of Smajak.
Do just smashak. Plate might be quite hard.
like the easiest thing.
Is it? Yeah, for your time.
All right.
2 hours of his time.
it's funny.
So,
Yeah. So
I would
you,
be the
you
sa-
see
I would be the,
the
I would
orange
be the same
icons on the
position,
top
man.
left. Those
Yep.
are your basic primitives.
okay.
So you want to make a plate first, right?
Yeah. So
you
I
can
would
start
take.
with the cylinder,
Okay.
Oh.
and now if you press
yeah.
R, that's your scale. So now you can squash it.
Okay.
And that's a plate.
Yeah. And if you
Alright.
press W,
Hold on. Okay. W.
and you can move it.
Okay.
If you press E,
Yeah.
you can rotate it
Okay.
if you want your smajak to fall on the ground.
Okay. Yeah.
But in this case, we don't need it. So
Okay.
Control Z exactly.
Yeah.
So if you press W again,
Mhm.
now you're just in the move. You now hold right click, go to face. Just go down, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And now hold tab.
Tab.
And with left click, you can select all of those things there. Yeah, perfect.
'Kay.
Now do Control E for extrude.
Control E.
Now just press R
R.
and scale it down. No. Scale it from the central, from the, yeah,
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
down,
Down?
into itself. Basically like an inset.
Okay.
Yeah. A little bit more, okay.
What does that do?
Now do Control E again. And
'Kay.
go down again. Press W
W.
and translate on that axis downwards. Nope, that's a little bit much.
Okay. So I'm
That's
just
a little
gonna
much.
Control Z.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay.
On the Y axis, the green axis.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
'Kay.
That's kind of a plate, I guess.
That's a plate, yeah.
Kind of.
I'm not super happy with it.
Okay. You can,
Okay.
yeah. Now you can create a cube
Okay. So cube.
and try to make a
So
smajak out of it.
I'll rotate it.
Just squish it.
Then
Just
I'll
squash it.
Just squash it.
That was
And
R.
make the edges rounded a little bit, like beveled a
You
little
can
bit.
use a subdivision there. So
Ah. What did I do?
hold right click.
Okay.
Don't panic. Don't panic. It's fine.
Right click.
Go to object mode.
Object mode. Yeah.
And just select your cube, your smajak.
Okay.
Press W.
And put it
W.
down.
Put
Put
it
it
on
on the
the plate.
table, man.
Put it on the table, yeah.
Put it on the table.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Now
Oh.
go into your mesh
Rotate it
tools.
a little bit. Rotate it a little bit.
Rotate it.
I think it's early for rotation, but it's fine. You can rotate it a little. Sure. We can call that.
Okay.
smajak.
No, grab only the green axle and rotate it.
How do you know about this?
I did a few
yeah.
models for our
This is
game,
very fun.
like 2.
Okay. You're just spinning it, but
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay.
I have my smudge
Okay. Go to your mesh tools.
Okay. So
it's
right.
top on the mesh tools. Nope.
Yep. 'Kay.
This is horrible. Go to mesh tools.
'Kay.
Mesh tools. Grab your multi-cut.
Yep.
Hold control
Control.
and add a bunch of cuts horizontally and vertically. Just add them everywhere.
Cut your
It doesn't have to be symmetrical because we're trying to make an imperfect form here. So
Okay.
just add them at random. Okay, I think that's enough. That's enough. That's
should I
enough.
do some this way?
No, you don't need them.
What if
'Cause
I do one?
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
He really
I'm
wants
good.
to.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now press Q
Your
Cute.
Smashak
to
has
get
way
rid of
too
it. Now go back
triangles, man.
to hold right click. Take the vertices. Vertex.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect
no,
cabin
press B.
accessory.
Press B.
B.
Okay, I need to just.
Hey.
It's his Smashak. Don't touch his Smashak, man.
So now just grab one vertex at random and
Mhm.
just move it in any direction. Preferably from the edge. No, just one, because we're in soft select mode, which means in the influence radius, the vertices next to it will also be translated.
Okay, so I select it. What do I
in
do
the
with it?
W,
W.
and just move it at random. But move it from the edges. It would be better to kind of get like a imperfect. You're trying to add disorder to the shape right now.
Okay.
So just move them at random. The more imperfection, the better. You imagine a block of
Melted
fried
cheese, yeah. Yeah, you're getting there.
It's a pizza box.
What'd you say, Benny?
Someone in chat is saying, is this a
Oh.
pizza box?
How
No,
do I,
it's a
how do I select
Smashak.
it again?
It's
Just
fried
hold right
cheese on a
click.
plate.
Hold right click. Go to object mode.
Object mode.
And just select, yeah.
Okay, so.
Hold
then-
right click. Go to vertex. Yeah.
Okay.
They saying your Smajak has too many polygons. It's unplayable.
Unplayable?
Yeah, it's
This Smashak would
it's
like
high poly Smajak.
yeah. That would this Smashak would get like 3 FPS in the game.
It's like was that the
like triple A-
Starfield
triple
game,
A
was
free
it, with
Smajak.
the sandwiches?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have my Smudge now.
Okay, now
Um,
go to object mode.
Okay, object mode.
No,
Oh,
just
yeah,
hold right click
right click, object mode. Yeah.
and press 3 on your keyboard. That's your smooth mesh preview.
Oh, that's a Smashak.
Okay.
That looks like Smajak.
That's a
Yeah.
Smashak.
You can do the same for your plate, but you need to add a support loop. Take the faces on the inside. Go to face. Yeah, but you see how it's doing a distortion on the.
It's a paper plate.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean.
It's a like
we can
music
call-
festival
yeah.
plate.
All right, there you
Yeah.
go. You're a 3D artist now.
Smashak.
Wow. Okay, so Yarda, I'm looking for a job when I don't get my raise from Nemiro, so I am a fully senior 3D artist now.
Hold on.
Senior.
Kind of getting ahead of yourself.
Put the
Am I-
Smashak on the plate, man. It
People are
irritates
saying
me how
it
it's
should
like
be a cabin
levitating.
accessory.
How do I?
Should we turn this into a toy? That'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
why not?
Doing the fries would be a nightmare, though, right? Like all
No,
those
you would do
individual.
one fry,
Yeah.
and then
And
you
just
would just
copy-
copy it and
yeah.
just
Rotate it a
Oh.
bit
Yeah.
and
scale
Oh.
it, move it, add a bit of.
So
disorder.
3D modeling is easy. Like I just made a cabin accessory in like 4 minutes.
You're hired.
Awesome.
nice.
He made it look so difficult when he was doing the bulldog, but really it's just easy as pie
Yeah, it's very comparable.
or
objects.
easy as Smajak.
Easiest Majak.
No, we have something else for our viewers today too, do we not?
Yeah, we wanted
we
to like, but you kind of ruined it with your Smashak.
Ruined it. It's
I
beautiful.
was waiting for Andy to be like finishing with the pedigree, and then I would like just, bring a few screenshots how that piece of truck actually looks when it's all done,
Okay.
and then you made this beautiful piece of art, and so now it's just, I guess, let's take at how the pedigree looks on a real truck when it's all done and ready for our players to play with.
And keep in mind, this is months and months of work.
Yeah.
It's only so much we can show on stream in an hour.
Go on, Benny. Walk us through all the force images we created. Look at how beautiful it is
And
when it's
shout
all
out
done.
to our artists that actually worked on this model, Marek and Mikin. Coming
Yeah.
soon.
Actually, there is a big story about the pedigree itself as well. Did you guys ever heard about it?
No.
Like it was the statue was carved by I think it was by an army man that got injured during World War II or even one, and he was in a hospital and was spending his time carving this pedigree out of a brick of soap, and then they adapted it as a logo
Oh, okay.
or as a like symbol of their initial like army vehicle, because the army man was calling their vehicle Bulldog because
You
it
know-
because it could get through any environment, any mud, anything,
Sort of. It was actually called a bulldog because of the
and the look as well. It
yeah,
like
it was the
front
look. It
was
had
looking
this. Yeah,
like a
yeah,
bulldog,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. If you look at the old Mac trucks, yeah.
yeah.
Mm. Now, do you know what the color of the bulldog
I
represents?
do.
You do.
Yeah.
Let's
so
hear
when
it.
you got a gold one on the hood, it means that everything, even the guts on your Mack truck, are provided by Mack.
So it's three major components. So it's the engine, the
Okay.
transmission, and the axles.
Okay.
Yeah. So in
Okay.
all three of those components, it's
From Mack?
considered a full-bred pedigree Mac.
Okay. When you have a silver, then that's not.
There will be
all.
one component, so maybe your transmission will be not a Mac transmission, or your axles will not be a
Yeah.
Mac axles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Originally, I believe I
And then
might
you
be
have
wrong on this.
also copper one
Mhm.
nowadays.
Mhm.
That's the full electric.
hmm
The
And
powertrain.
of course, the black one for
Black one that you guys seen. That's for later to be discovered why it's
Mhm.
black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not later today. Later, very soon, but not today.
Oh, I'm now Mark and you're Andy.
Oh.
Yeah. Because he can build up a Smashjack, right?
So
There's
if you guys want to, check out my band on Spotify, definitely hit me up. It's Cheese Can Make You Fun When You're Unhappy.
what a name.
Also, what else? What else are Andyisms?
I don't know.
Yeah. You want to hit them with some Markisms?
Some Markisms.
Yeah. Tell them how much you love Smajak and trucking.
Yeah, and Baconators.
Yeah. No, that's Benny. That's a Benny
It's
thing.
Benny.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also you thing.
No, you say Benny's name 3 times in the mirror, and a Baconator shows up in front of you.
Poor Benny just catching strays for no reason.
It's his favorite burger.
Do you need to tell like?
Yeah, he's making it.
Do you need to say like bacon, Benny, bacon, but like the whole thing with saying the 3 names is like Bloody Mary, right?
Oh yeah.
Bacon, Benny, bacon.
Benny Baconator. Benny Baconator. Benny Baconator.
And then you're gonna die.
If I actually had a Baconator right now to pop on that would have been so funny, like as a prop. But
We should get Benny to make a Baconator in my.
oh,
oh, Benny
what
looks like he's not talking with us at all.
what is your number 1 favorite burger? Is it the Baconator? Yeah, it is.
Is it actually? Come on, man, that was terrible.
And the first Baconator you had was the worst Baconator
At the
I've ever
airport.
had. Yeah, the one
Yeah.
in Seattle. Yeah, Seattle Airport. That was terrible, and he still liked it. So when he tries a fresh Baconator, finally, he's gonna be in love.
I think
We
he
had
likes
it.
it because it was
We
like
had
first.
we had
US
the
food he
fresh
got.
one. We had the fresh one in the South Carolina, I guess, on the way back from the NASCAR.
Then you have Bennycam and Benny Mike. Why aren't you
No,
not
I'm
talking
talking
to
to
the people?
chat as well.
People are
I'm
watching
talking
you.
to
People
chat as
they,
well.
they want to hear about. They want to
people
hear about
need
your
Benny.
life. Come
Boo,
on, man.
Benny, boo.
Okay, I guess that's it for today.
Yeah, I hope people found it useful and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe
I
learn
Let us know.
something new.
Let us know.
I did because I've seen your process a little bit, like when we were working on the
Yeah.
LT together and stuff like that. But like I've never actually seen any of you guys start from scratch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Usually, I don't know.
Yeah, you usually come somewhere halfway.
I'm usually
into-
coming like 90% towards
Yeah,
the end. Like,
exactly.
hey, you know how
Tim
you've been
does.
like working on this truck and you're almost done? Can you
Can
add
you
this
rework
brand
it?
new entire
You rework it all
configuration?
because it's wrong.
Yeah, like this. I'm definitely great to work with 100% of the time.
So, chat. Once this stream recording is on YouTube, let us know in the comment section or in the comment section anywhere if you want a second episode with Andy, maybe finishing up the pedigree or modeling
People are
something
saying,
else. Or
map design stream would also be interesting.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe you could get someone from the.
someone who would
maps.
build up a stretch of a road or a small village or part
yeah,
of a city.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think these behind the scenes are always interesting to see
Yes,
the
sir.
process.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it's something I think the community in the chat asked for. You know, they're kind of curious about how we do things, right? Like they
Yeah.
see the finished product, but
yeah,
I mean,
not what went into it.
yeah, exactly.
And this was only a very small slice of actually what goes on behind the scenes.
hmm
As you can see, like it took an hour just to set up a basic foundation of it. Like imagine what it takes to get from scratch to a finished.
Yeah, I
product.
mean,
It's-
like going for like frame rails, axles,
yeah, it's
air
just
lines,
months and
brakes.
months and months
like,
of work. Yeah.
yeah.
And then you need to apply like hundreds of paint jobs on that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
textures,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything. you
Yeah, we
build,
have
yeah.
many different people working on the same project typically. Like even on the
Yeah.
trucks, there's usually 2 or 3 people collaborating.
So here's a quick question: what's more difficult to do, the exterior or the interior?
It depends who you're asking.
Yeah?
And it depends what it is. But for me, interior is more difficult because it's much more detailed and there's a lot more going on.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the exterior is just one big giant shape and you just try to go bit by bit. But I don't know. Some people prefer to model interior, so I would
Okay.
say every artist will give you a different answer for this.
So do you guys generally try to work together in that regard? Like, hey man, I'm going to do this truck. Like, can you handle the interior for me? I'll do the exterior.
Sometimes it happens. Yeah, some projects there's a interior specialist working separately from the exterior specialist. Other times we do an entire thing from like exterior to interior ourselves.
Right.
It really depends. Sometimes we have projects where we're making a new configuration or a new variant of an existing truck, so we'll take parts that are already there and just add new ones to make, like for the DAF XD, for example, I was tasked with working on the interior, and I would just take what was existing already and just model the XD specific parts
Okay.
and just put together a new scene. So it really depends. Like every project is different. Every project has different challenges.
Mm.
So it's not always the same thing. But yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess if that's it, I think Nemiro is looking for someone right now
Yeah.
to send everyone on a raid.
Nightmare_SE is streaming, for example.
Our boy.
Let's hit our boy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, everyone, when you head over there, remember you're representing us, you're representing yourselves, and you're representing the best community ever. So, remember to be positive, spread love, and have fun over there with Nightmare. Andi, thank you so much for coming on and
Yeah,
doing
thank
some
you.
modeling with
Yeah,
us.
thanks for having me. I always enjoy being here. It's fun.
Nemiro, thank you. I think our insurance premiums just went up because no vehicles got wrecked today. So,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for coming.
Yeah.
Coming
Thank you,
on
thank,
and-
thank you as well, Mark. Thank you as well. Next time you can tell us the Bronco story.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I already did the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All 2 people were cheered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so the two of you still watching, let's head on over to Nightmare SC, and
Yeah.
I guess we'll catch you guys on the next live stream.
Yep. See ya.
See ya.
See you.